Namaste, Jagdish here. As part of our conversations on Bhagavad-Gita for a work table, we are entering episode 7 of these series of conversations. In the episode 7, we are going to look at chapter 6 of the Gita. And the chapter 6 of the Gita is called as Dhyana Yoga. Dhyana Yoga is a science of internal world or the science of meditation. We need to probably examine something very critical here. Krishna is establishing a conversation with Arjuna in the battlefield, and we had seen that knowledge happens at the moment of crisis. And knowledge doesn't happen in a pure form. Knowledge is a combination of the theoretical framework along with what is pragmatically relevant. So this particular conversation is happening amidst a war. There's a crisis and the crisis has to be handled. As part of this conversation of handling the crisis, Krishna here is not directing about how to actually wage a war. Krishna is not teaching Arjuna archery. All that Krishna is trying to teach Arjuna is the art of understanding, making sense of a complex world. And probably that is where we are entering Dhyana Yoga. Dhyana Yoga is a science of inner growth, the science of the interior, the science of meditation. How does it really act towards helping somebody work very well in the outside world? In this particular instance, helping Arjuna take appropriate decisions in a moment of crisis. We'll examine that and see in what way that conversation is relevant for us. We can see that the human world is made up of two things. One is my subjective experiences and an apparent objective world, an unchanging, apparently objective world. What is more important for us actually is the subjective world itself. The world outside makes sense to me in a way that I can, subjectively comprehend. I may like something, I may not like something. I want to have more of something, I do not want to have more of something. So understanding ourselves is the best way to handle the world. That's the crux of this conversation. Because the way we start dealing with our own internal world is the very way in which we start dealing with the outside world also. Arjuna's confusion was not with the objective world. Arjuna's confusion was about his own internal world. What is permanent? What is impermanent? Who is mine? Who is not mine? What is my duty? What is not my duty? What's happiness? What's not happiness? These questions had intermingled so badly within Arjuna that Arjuna found it quite difficult to make sense of what his actions should be in the outside world. That's where Dhyana Yoga comes. Dhyana Yoga, in almost the first few verses itself, probably in the first verse itself, Krishna speaks about Agni Karya. Agni Karya means working with fire. Working with fire is the only thing that we human beings do. We survive because there is a fire. We do something because it's fire that makes us do something. Guruji talks about it quite well. There is a fire that really makes us do certain things in our lives. Agni Karya, working with the fire, and Karma Yoga are in almost one and the same. Now, what Arjuna understands just there in the war is a bewilderingly complex arrangement of information. There is a war to be waged. Their kingdom has been confiscated. He is loyal to his brothers. He is loyal to Krishna. He is loyal to his kingdom. At the same time, he is attracted equally by his teacher, his grandfather, his cousins, and all relatives who are standing opposite him there. This bewildering complexity of information is something that's confusing him. That's what is present in the modern world. Modern world is growing into that kind of complexity so big, so vastly, that in order to deal with that, we probably will have to deal with our own internal world. It's similar to this. In order to shoot an arrow as far as you want, you need to be capable of pulling the string of the bow as back as possible. So when the information of the outside world is bewilderingly complex, you need to enter your inner world so to see how complex the whole thing is and absolutely being calm with that complexity itself. Start looking at the complexity that you are handling right now. Thank you so much. We'll continue the conversation. Jagdish here. Namaste.